Hi.
Evening.
I was just checking to see if it's actually my name that was showing.
That's 1 second here. I should. Oh,
Yeah, sometimes it shows like it says admin on it, but I think I added my name one time when I uploaded it.
Yeah. Happens.
Miserable night again, eh?
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Dangerous to be on the roads. I was driving through Greenpoint this afternoon. I was surprised the roads were horrible.
I have an appointment at the blood work tomorrow in Quinn, and
Yeah.
I'm thinking I won't be going.
Usually the roads down there are pretty good. Pretty
Yeah.
good.
Hey guys, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yep.
I think it's recording now and I don't want to touch anything, so.
It said it was, and it told me to okay it when I got in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just to let you know, I don't have access to my iCompass agenda on
Okay.
my, because I don't have the connection to connect it here at home. I have the paper copy, but and a few of like my financial report, I have a copy of the two main sheets, but
Okay. Do you need us to tell you if anything's on here, Brenda?
not at this point. I think I'm good just to follow through on the agenda, but
Okay. Okay.
Glad you were able to make it from home, Brenda. It's not a nice night out there.
yeah, well, so far, as long as I don't get kicked off, if there's something.
Right.
Yeah. Well, technology of today, right? Look like a bottle of beer behind me, but it's actually a giraffe.
Oh, yeah.
So we are recording, right now, just in case you're.
Oh,
Fine. That's fine.
I think that's a,
We have to laugh and joke.
Mhm.
That's why I was checking, Scott, to make sure what was behind me.
Yeah, well, I hit record. Actually, when it came on, it just started recording and I didn't want to hit it again because I was scared it would stop and not be able to turn it on again, so.
okay.
We're missing Ron and Marilyn, right?
Guys, I'm here, but I'm not putting my video on because I got my heating pad on my neck and I don't look very good for my.
I'm sure you still look amazing, Nicole.
That's right. Okay.
There's Marilyn, the admin.
Okay. Still have 4 minutes or so.
So we have everyone, I think, your worship.
You want to start her up now, or you want to wait till
Oh, no,
7?
we'll wait till 7. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Wasn't too nice driving back today. Paul, did you drive from Bathurst?
I bet. Yeah, no, I was just telling Lynn around Greenpoint, it was really, really bad on the main roads. Usually they're pretty good down there for that bad. Yeah, I bet in Bathurst, it must have been pretty greasy.
Well, it was when I turned from off Main Street onto the exit Sturgeon Road. I didn't have my truck in 4-wheel drive, and it just went right out in the middle of that intersection. So it was a good thing that there was nothing coming.
There was some police flying through Beresford, so I'm assuming that that stretch around the carpet ranch, so might have been an accident there.
Yeah.
Actually, they were saying there was an accident in Beresford. I've seen it on
Yeah.
Facebook earlier.
Yeah, well, they were flying.
They don't drive too slow, even you can't see a thing.
Right.
Marilyn, your screen does say admin.
It does. I don't know. I don't
I'm
know how to put
thinking-
my name on it.
I'm thinking when you log in or made your account or something that you would have had to put your name in. It may just say admin because of what the name on the computer.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I'll get it fixed at some point.
At least we know who you are
Yeah.
face to face.
I have my admin assistant with me.
Oh, you do,
Oh.
eh? Oh, there you go.
Well, your assistant's smarter than mine. Mine's in my bed sleeping.
Mine just roam freely wherever.
You got a smart one there.
Okay, so it turned 7, so I'm gonna start, Scott. Okay. So 7 o'clock, going to want to welcome everyone to our regular council meeting, Tuesday, February 22nd, 2022, excuse me. And we're going to start, as we always do tonight, with the acknowledgement of treaties of peace and friendship. We would like to begin by acknowledging that the land on which we gather is the traditional unceded territory of the Mi'kmaq peoples. This territory is covered by the treaties of peace and friendship, which Wolastoqiyik, Mi'kmaq, and Passamaquoddy peoples first signed with the British Crown in 1726. The treaties did not deal with surrender of lands and resources, but in fact recognized Mi'kmaq and Wolastoqiyik title and established the rules for what was to be an ongoing relationship between nations. Thank you, Lawin. Next up is the reaffirmation of the oath of office. We do hereby accept the office of council
Council.
and will diligently, faithfully, and impartially discharge to the best of our ability the duties of the office as may be imposed upon us by law. Thank you. Normally, we would have a moment of reflection at this point, but we don't have to do that at this particular meeting, thankfully. So we'll move on to the agenda and the adoption of the agenda. Do we have a motion there, 22-25? Before we do we have any amendments, additions, or deletions?
I would like to add something to the agenda.
Okay. Go ahead. Yep.
I would like to add, a few questions I have concerning the hiring of the CAO. I had some questions for Scott and some things that are unclear to me, so I would just like to get some of those questions answered this evening if possible.
Okay, we'll need to go through council. Are there any objections or questions or what have you?
No, I believe Scott was going to bring something on tonight anyway.
Do we have any objections to that?
No,
So everyone's okay with that being on the agenda?
Yes.
Okay. Conflict of
I think we
interest.
lost Ron.
We lost Ron, I think.
Oh, well, okay,
Yeah.
we need to get Ron back before we move on to
Yeah,
the motion. Yeah,
Also need to have a mover and a seconder for the agenda.
right, yeah, I'm just gonna wait till we get Counselor Burke on to see what he has to say, or if he has any objections to that, and then we'll take the motion. Can we get him on, Scott, somehow?
I have no idea how to do that without
Does
losing
anybody have
everybody.
his phone number to call him?
Thanks, Cynthia.
I think Cynthia's giving him a call.
I'm just afraid, your worship, if I try to
Yeah,
get
you
out
don't-
and try to accept him, then I'm gonna.
No, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Just leave it be and we'll get him back.
He's trying to reconnect.
Okay,
We'll give him a minute.
Nothing more frustration when you lose your connection and
yeah.
can't get back on.
Cynthia, can you re-invite him again, or should I try to minimize and?
Who?
I was talking to Cynthia, if she could, if Cynthia could re-invite him, or if I have to do it.
It's probably you that needs to re-invite him.
I don't know. I'm
It
not
would
gonna
have
take
to be
any
you, Scott,
chances.
you're the admin on the meeting, so it would have to be you.
Okay,
I can try forwarding him my email with the link into it if you'd like.
yeah, try that. Chrissy.
Yeah.
Okay. Jared, can you come here for a sec? How can I move that out of the way here? The other side. So I can copy invitation.
Let me go to his email.
Yeah. How do I get that?
There.
No,
No.
this is my email.
Oh, there, yeah. Mhm.
I forwarded the email that I had and I invited him through Zoom, so I'm not sure.
That should work, Chrissy, because I had to like forward the invite to my Outlook address for at home on the laptop, so it should work.
Okay, where's my picture now? Okay, I'm. I just copied and sent them the link again, so. From the original meeting.
Okay, see how it goes.
He's trying another computer.
Your worship, we could put on the rerun of last night's Montreal, Toronto Maple Leaf game.
Yeah, it works for me.
Yeah,
I bet you that was for me, wasn't it?
yeah. Marilyn.
Don't worry, Marilyn, it was for me too.
I know, that's okay. Hey, gotta give it
Well,
to
we'll,
them.
we'll
Gotta
we'll give
it
them
to
a game or two. God love them, you know.
Yeah.
I know. That pity party is coming to an end.
Well, Councillor Carrier, you do have something on here tonight about internet service.
Oh,
Wonder if that's what his issue is. Is it an internet connection problem, or because I mean he lives on the main road, so
really?
It
Yeah,
shouldn't be on that.
he said he was getting a message that he's not connected to the internet.
Oh, really?
Maybe it's down in his area. Is that
I should
possible?
be on the same line. We should all be pretty much on the same line and we should all be good.
Okay.
Maybe his laptop's not connected to his internet, like, you know how you gotta go on the Wi-Fi? Maybe that's not connected.
Yeah, well, he was going to try another computer in the house.
Okay. That could be it.
but he had been part of the meeting, so it had connected.
That he
Yeah.
had, he had died for a while though, because it was just he wasn't responding and he was in the same still frame for a while.
Oh,
Technology is a complicated affair. When
mhm.
it doesn't want to work, it doesn't want to work.
We're about 20 minutes into the meeting. Can I make the suggestion that we move forward with the meeting, and when he gets connected, he can join?
No, because he needs to vote on whether we put the amendment through or not.
Does that mean going forward, if there's any council member missing at a meeting, that nothing can be added to the agenda?
We're gonna wait.
Okay, well, to simplify it, I'll object to the addition to the agenda and then we can move on.
We're gonna give Councillor Burke 10 more minutes. If he's not on, we'll move on.
But while we're sitting here waiting anyway, I'm just wondering why, Cynthia, you would have an issue with some clarification regarding questions regarding the hiring of a CAO.
Because I don't think it's appropriate that this is the place to do it. If you have questions, you could ask the CAO and he could direct it to the committee. That council agreed would be involved in the hiring of the CAO.
I did bring the questions to the CAO, and he told me to bring it up at the meeting. And so I asked him to put it on the agenda, but it didn't get added. So he emailed me today and told me to add it to the agenda at tonight's meeting.
Right. But, okay, so the procedure of the bylaw, it has to be unanimous to go forward. So we're gonna wait and see if Councillor Burke can get on. If he can't get on, then we'll go back to the agenda, the amendments, and whatever that decision is, that's the decision. It's not, it has to be on the agenda for it to be debated. So until it gets on the agenda, there's no debate.
This is not the first time that there's been asked to be something added to the agenda. In fact, since you made this new rule about how everybody had to vote unanimously, there's been multiple occasions where council voted to add something to the agenda. So I don't see what you mean by that.
You need to read the procedural bylaw where it says that any amendments need to be unanimously approved.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Okay.
There was, well, you took the vote. There was nobody that had an issue with it. It was voted to go through. There was a council member that wasn't even here, and we've waited now over 10 minutes for him to reconnect.
There was no vote.
There was
We
no
have not
vote
had
on
a
the
vote yet.
motion.
You asked, is there any objections? There were none. And you said, does anybody have a problem? And actually a council member actually said no. Nobody spoke up. And that was when you realized that Councillor Burke was not here.
Right.
There was
So-
no motion yet to
We'll
adopt the agenda.
We'll deal with the motion in 7 minutes if Councillor Burke is not here. That's when we'll have the vote on the motion to amend with the addition.
Okay.
Okay, so it's 7:30. We've allowed Councillor Burke an appropriate amount of time to join us. He's unable. If he connects with us later, and I see Councillor Carrier is not with us, but if either connect with us later, then we'll allow them into the meeting. There was a vote that needed to be taken on the agenda. There was an addition wish to be added. So let's just take a vote on that, and then we'll just continue through the meeting. So to the meeting, in terms of adopting the agenda with the amendment that Councillor Carey put forward. It's 22-25. Well, let's just have a vote on, or we'll go through that first of all. So with the amendment, 2202, 22-25, all those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Okay, so that change will not be included in the agenda. So then the,
Mr. Mayor, like there was no mover or seconder to that
oh,
motion?
my apologies.
Sorry.
My apologies. No, you're correct. Let's do it the right way. Sorry about that. So can we have a mover for the agenda with the addition? This
I
would be,
move that the agenda be adopted with the addition.
can I get a seconder?
I'll second it.
And this will be, it need to be a unanimous vote as per the bylaw. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
Okay, since we have no other amendments, we'll do the up the agenda as is. Should we give that a different number, Clerk Treasurer Cormier? Should we give that a -26 or
What I'll do is just refer to it as 25B.
25B? Okay, so this is to the adopt the agenda as is or as was presented. And we'll call this 22-25B. Can I get a mover?
I move that the agenda be presented as is.
Can I get a seconder?
I'll second it.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay.
I
Okay.
have a question. May I ask?
Yeah, sure.
Why would we refuse to update on the CAO?
Yeah.
Where we're so
Well,
close to the end
The
of
only
it.
thing about that, Clerk, or excuse me, Councillor Carmichael, is it hasn't gotten on the agenda. So without it being on the agenda, there's not normally a discussion of that's not on the agenda. That's why we had to vote to put it on the agenda. So,
My understanding earlier today is that when I spoke to the CAO, that it would be added tonight just to give an update where we were at.
well, it would have to be added by unanimous vote of council, and it didn't get unanimity.
Okay.
So we're gonna move on. So now we have
Don't you
this.
think this close to the hiring process of the CAO, that an update should be provided not only to council, but to the public as well?
As far as an update, we
Sorry,
had one
Can I
last
speak to
term.
that? That wasn't
Yeah.
what your request was.
Yeah.
It wasn't for the CAO to make a presentation on where we were at the process. You had questions that you wanted to ask and add to the agenda. That's a different matter altogether.
Well, if I don't ask them, who's going to?
Council, that motion has been, that was defeated, and we are dealing with the agenda that we have given to us at present. So that's what we're
Actually,
moving on
what
to.
the question was about an update to council and the public regarding the hiring of a CAO, considering that our current CAO is done in a matter of, a week? I think that the public deserves an
Councillor
update,
Carrier?
whether it's questions coming from me or an update in general.
Okay, so we've made a decision, we're moving on. That's, you put it forth as an amendment, it didn't get on the agenda. So we're moving on.
My point was that somebody from the hiring committee should have put it on the agenda, such as yourself or the CAO, for example.
Okay, so we're moving on, council. And so the next one is to presentations, petitions, and delegations, of which there are none. Then we move on to members of council. I have one. And that is an acknowledgement of the birthday of Ethel McGregor, 100 years old.
Mr. Mayor, we forgot
Yes.
about the minutes.
Oh, okay, we'll get to the minutes then. The adoption of the minutes, which is 22-26. That the minutes of the Committee of Whole Council meeting January 10th, 2022, and the regular meeting of January 31st, 2022 be adopted as presented. So those are the adoption of the minutes. And I'll get to the business arising in a minute. So can we get a mover to adopt the minutes?
I move that the minutes of the Committee of Whole Council meeting of January 10th, 2022, and the regular meeting of January 31st, 2022 be adopted as presented.
Okay, can I get a seconder?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councillor Guitar McDonald. On the question, do we have any questions or pertaining to the minutes of January 10th or January 31st? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Then we have a motion passed. Business arising from those minutes. Do we have any business arising that council would like to attend to? No? Okay. Then, oh, sorry. Yeah, okay. So then we move on to the presentations, petitions, and delegations, of which there are none. Then we can move on to statements by members of council. And as you see under mine, there's an acknowledgement of a birthday for Ethel McGregor, who's 100 years 2 days ago on Sunday, I believe. It's quite an accomplishment. Wonderful milestone in someone's life. And on behalf of council, I would like to express a happy belated birthday to Ethel. Congratulations on turning 100 years old. And now we move on to Councillor Carrier.
I would like council to look at the idea of helping residents who don't have any options for internet services in our community to help them to get Starlink. I don't know what the criteria would be. I would like council to start thinking about ways, for example, if there is a low-income family, especially with a child, they don't have access to internet. The reason I think council should be involved in this and that it should be some help provided if needed is because the initial startup cost to get Starlink is close to $1,000 for the equipment. And it would give residents in our community an option for internet services. I also think that we should also be looking into some different federal or provincial grants that could be out there to be helping rural communities to access internet. Oh, sorry, Cynthia, did you have something you wanted to say?
No.
Oh, okay. But yeah, so I think that given that there's not a whole lot of options here for some of the people in our area, that, you know, perhaps we could look at helping them either financially with a loan or something that they could pay back monthly payments or something like that if there is no federal or municipal or provincial grants available. So I would like to give directive to the CAO to have staff start doing some digging and some research into those opportunities that may be out there and available.
Okay,
I like
yeah, go ahead, Councillor Carmichael.
I like the idea of trying to help these people with the internet. I'm not sure if we can loan them the money, but I'm sure, like, I'm thinking there has to be some grants out there to help these low income families to get it. It would be hard to completely agree to it because there's a lot of people on the main drag that got their internet and they're paying monthly for it. And we all know that the fees for that. But I'd really like to look at the provincial, because provincial government did say a couple of years back that everybody in New Brunswick would have a higher speed or a better internet at that time. But if I could ask the clerk treasurer about us financing it, I don't know if that's a possibility, because we looked at certain things before financing through the village, and I don't think that's a possibility, but maybe we can get help from the government.
Okay, Councilor Guitar McDonald, did you have anything you wanted to add?
No, I'm just listening. It all sounds very interesting. And if there's an opportunity there available, then we definitely need to look into it.
Mhm.
Councilor Robinson?
No, I am connected to Starlink, and it's a great service, works well.
Okay, so does council agree to give that, there's a sort of a suggestion that we give CEO Ferguson a directive to perhaps get the ball rolling on this with Bell or Rogers? Do we have support for that from council to do that?
I don't believe that Bell or Rogers will go back there, because we've already ran into that problem in the past. But I would certainly like to see the CAO get this started to look at Starlink and see if there's anything money out there to help financially for these families.
Okay,
Starlink right now we're on a beta project right now. So I think they at one point had discussed instead of a total upfront startup fee of, and it is just over $1,000, that they would phase in not a rental fee, but more of a payment plan. So that may be coming with the second rollout of their project too. So I don't know if there's grants available, but I don't know that the village can provide the funding for low income families. So if CEO Ferguson wants to look at other options, I think it would be great. It is expensive. The initial startup is expensive.
Thank you for that information.
Well, I don't know who to, I'm gonna step down, but I don't know who to step down to, but anyway, I'll just do it metaphorically. Just to let you know, I know the provincial government is leaning towards Starlink. They have made it quite clear that they understand that the municipal governments and municipalities need better internet access, and they're leaning towards, I think, supporting some sort of partnership with Starlink. So that might be the place for CEO Ferguson to start, to see if there's a government agency or department that might specifically be looking at doing that, because I think that's on the table already. In fact, I know it is. So you might want to start there. You might be further along than we think.
Scott, you're muted.
CEO Ferguson, did you want anything to add? But you'd have to unmute.
Yeah, I'll contact our MLA's office tomorrow just to see if they can direct me in the right place to find out some information for you. And I'll send everybody an email tomorrow if I get anything tomorrow, or when I do get it, I'll start on it tomorrow.
Okay. All right. If that's all for that, then I think we'll move on to Councillor Guitar McDonald.
Okay, I just wanted to touch base with council, because 8 months ago when we got into our office here, one of my goals was to try to get a support programs in place in our community for our residents, and lo and behold, that's what Circle of Friends is. And I've been in contact with Nikki there. They moved Circle of Friends from Lorne onto Main Street in Beldoon, above the fire hall across from the school. And they offer a program for adults. a place for them to go to feel comfortable, you know, to offer them support if they seek it, just like a social kind of atmosphere. Well, my plan is to try to put something in place like this for the youth in our community. And I've been in talks with our health and wellness coordinator, Daryl Culligan, and we have been back and forth on several things. And actually, Nikki has given me some wonderful information to contact our provincial government for any grants or programs that we might be able to direct to our village for our youth. Let's be honest, everybody has suffered through this pandemic, and I believe our youth are in dire need of something, any kind of social setting where they can, you know, feel welcomed and comfortable, and at some point have some type of outreach program for them so that it's a place for them to go. So right now I'm in talks with Mr. Culligan, and we're working on trying to see where we can move with this. And so I just want to give you an update of what I would like to see come to our village. Input would be wonderful, but right now we're just scoping it out. But that is what I would like to see in place in our village for the youth. Having a program like this in place so that it's a place for them to go. And I'd also like to thank Daryl for his program that he put together for the newcomers booklets. They are now available at the library and at the village office and will be put out into our local businesses for our new residents. But well done job for him.
Any other council members wish to add anything?
That it would be a good program for our youth if we could get it in. And I'm sure there's all kinds of grant money out there that we would be able to grab out. Again, the MLA, Danielle Guterre, might be able to help us on that.
Yes.
So, yeah, if the CAO could reach out on that, like what you're basically looking for is a room with activities and maybe a council session. Am I right?
I'm looking to set up a program, yes, with a someone in place that, if required by a youth to talk to, that someone will be in place for them. But that's a conversation down the road. But right now we're looking into other options. But right now that's the focus, is to see what's out there and available for us to bring it here.
So did you say that Daryl Culligan is looking into these grants or money?
He is. I've been in conversation with him. We have been. In fact, Nikki from a Circle of Friends gave me a contact person today, and I will be in contact with them as well, a provincial coordinator for youth programs. So, you know, we're on the right track. It's just to get it moving.
Thank you. That's very good information.
Hi, Ron.
Good afternoon.
You
My
got lost
computer's-
and now found?
Yeah. My computer skills brought me back from the dead.
But you're just in time for the administration reports. CAO Ferguson?
Thank you, Worship. Just if I could, Councillor Guiterre, a good contact would be, for what you were talking about, would be the youth center. And I think Melissa Harvey could probably put you in the right direction with where to go with that. I know
Yes,
she's
I
been
have
involved
her.
in some of those stuff, so.
Yep.
Okay. First of all, the first one I have is the grants, grant report and recommendation. As you can see on your package, there's two that were requested, the Kidney Foundation and the MS Society of Canada. And I believe that that the council should forward $200 to each of those foundations. They're both very worthy of it. So that's my recommendation for that. I don't know, Brenda, do we need a motion there? Or?
Yes, there's a motion on the agenda.
Okay.
Oh, Paul, you're on mute. I'm sorry, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilor Carmichael. No. I'm just saying that I'm kind of looking for that particular motion. If someone would just like to go ahead and move that motion.
I move M 2022-02-21-27 that the Social and Environmental CAO Grant Report of February 2022 be accepted as presented and the following recommendation approved. $200 to the Kidney Foundation and $200 to the MS Society of Canada.
Okay, can we get a seconder for that motion?
I will second that.
On the question? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion approved. Did we have a second one there, Councilor Carmichael, too, or?
They're both on the same one.
Okay, so we're good to move on.
Yes, and just an update with your social environmental 2022 grants. You're approximately 25,000 left with a number of grants that you normally give out that have yet to go, and those include your high school bursaries, a number of things coming, but you're still in great shape with that. So the second one I have on my list, I believe, is the request, I guess, of the ATV club, Schiller ATV, was brought up before that they were looking for us, just, I guess, looking for approval, although I don't believe they need it, but that they're looking for acceptance, I guess, of council for them to name the bridge, the new bridge that's been built for the ATV club across Jack River, and that was brought up twice before. I did let people know that when you asked me to contact him, that Mr. Willett, that we wanted to make sure that the money was heading to the bridge. He did assure me of that. I know that council, the village itself, has provided many funds towards this project. That being said, I just wanted to let you know that with the bridges, if you have ever seen any of the big project bridges, such as the one behind the Atlantic Coast in Bathurst,
Okay.
there's a huge sign, probably 12 by 12 or bigger, in front that names the major sponsors of the bridge, and Beldoon, like Bathurst City Council's on theirs. I know that they gave quite a bit towards that too. And then there's a little small sign on it because RH Fernet is involved in all sections of the ATV trails, and they've been a sponsor of theirs for a long time. Also contractor, so there's both sides of that. So just wanted to let you know that I did receive an email from Mr. Willett, and it says, "Good day, Mr. Ferguson. I'm confirming to you that if we reach a final and official agreement with RH Fernet, hoping to have the bridge named after the company, that the $30,000 will be reinvested into the bridge project. Also, a large sign will be installed at the south entrance of the bridge to expose our major sponsors, who are so far the Village of Beldoon, Government of New Brunswick, Government of Canada, Club VTT, Club Schiller ATV Club, and Quad NB. So those will be the only names on that big sign. I happened to go from Atlantic Coast up through Sormany yesterday on my snowmobile, and there were 3 or 4 bridges, small bridges, and they have small signs that say RH Fernet or whatever, but ultimately it's up to you to decide. I think basically they're just looking to give you that. They don't want to hurt anybody's feelings with regards to this stuff, but ultimately you either give your blessing or you don't, and I'll just bring it back to them. So that's up to you guys, but I would like to get back to them as soon as possible. So I'll wait for your direction on that.
So I guess we go with the first one, and if it passes, we leave it. If it doesn't, we move to the second one, I guess, right?
Yeah. I
Okay.
think Brenda could tell you.
Yes, I give council 2 options, either approve or not approve.
Okay. So let's do the first one and then see if that gets accepted or not. So the motion 21-28, can I get a mover for that, please?
I move that the Baldoon Council approve the offer of $30,000 at the Scheller ATV Club from R.H. Fournette for the purchase of the name for the ATV bridge over the Jacket River.
Okay, can I get a seconder?
I'll second it.
Okay, on the question?
If I may, I do have a couple of comments on that.
Okay, you start, Deputy Mayor Burke.
First of all, when we compare it to the bridge in Bathurst, I was under the impression that the armed forces had built that bridge, had put it in there. That's the impression I was under. So I believe there wasn't any funding involved in building that. The armed forces built it. So
I was just there yesterday and there's all kinds of funding that was provided besides that. The armed forces came in to give extra help with regards to building it, but there was certainly funding that went in. And if you go on down there, you'll see the great big sign that says Province of New Brunswick, Government of Canada, and all things like that as well
they
as some other
contributed
local.
to the bridge. They
Right next
contributed
to
to the bridge or the trail.
the bridge.
Okay. So secondly, I'll say it this way. Back in 2014-15, when I was highly involved in that, Mr. Ouellette himself did a presentation for council at that time and told us that the bridge that was going in, where it was going to cross the Jacket River, was 80 feet long. Therefore, a 100-foot bridge was required, and the bridge was available. It was already built and everything like that. The bridge was $100,000 at basically $1,000 a foot. Now, from any correspondence that I'm aware of on this bridge, we've been said it's $140,000, but it's way below. It'll be a lot more than that. Now, at the end of the day, we don't know who's designing the bridge. We don't know who's basically engineering the bridge. And we don't know what it's even going to cost. So, I look at this and I say, if R.H. Fournette are interested in contributing funds, that's fine. But I personally would like to know what the cost of this bridge is, who's designing it, and who's engineering it. So with that said, I'm going to make a motion at this time that we table this resolution until that information is available.
Okay, a motion to table has been placed on council's table, therefore we need to address it.
I'll second
I-
the motion.
Okay, Councillor Robinson is going to second the motion to table. On that question, let's move to a vote. All those in favor of tabling the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those in favor, or excuse me, all those opposed, say nay.
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 Okay, so the motion to table has been defeated. Therefore, we are going to go back to the original motion. Councillor Burke, were you finished with your comments?
I'm done.
Councillor Robinson, did you have a comment?
I do. My concern over R.H. Fournette having the naming rights on the bridge for $30,000 is that a lot of the contractors had been asked to work at reduced rates or contribute in kind to the building of those trails and the construction along the way. So my concern is that now R.H. Fournette is coming in and they were assured that all contractors, they were all being treated equally in terms of recognition for their contributions to the trails. So now R.H. Fournette is coming in and naming, I guess, according to Scott, all of the bridges along the way. And I think it may put the trails, I can't see some of the contractors then contributing again when, so the cost of the trails is now going to increase because contractors are not going to be as supportive when the trails have reneged on their contributions. I don't think at $30,000, when other people have contributed in excess of that, the Village of Baldoon has put in a lot of money for the trails, and then to hand over the naming rights for the bridge, I don't agree with that.
Okay, would any council members like to respond?
As far as that, I believe they're only putting their name on the sign, and I believe that if we spoke to Mr. Willett, that he would agree to put the name of whoever helped on that bridge, whether it's contractors or not. The thing is, we've stalled, and if we keep on stalling, it's another thing that will never get done. We've been waiting. It's been my 6 years on council, and it's been stalling before this council, the last council. So I think we need to start moving forward, and then discussions needs to be had with Mr. Willett, whose name will be there and whose name won't be there. So.
Well, if that's the case, then RH Fernet can have the same privilege of having their name on the same sign as all the other contributors. It's the purchase for $30,000, which is a pittance in terms of the total cost of this project, to have their name attached to the bridge.
Has any other contractor requested that? Or is it just Willett? Or this
I believe the
contractor?
other contractors were told that they were all being treated equal in terms of where they're advertising.
By whom?
That's what I was told.
CEO Ferguson, do you have anything to add to that?
No, they're a private entity. I don't get into they just made a request for that bridge to be named RH Fernet. I don't know who else made it. They didn't make anything to the Village of Baldoon. It's in my mind, it's their decision to do what they want. I'm not here to judge whatever. I'm just bringing forward the information that's supplied to me.
No, I'm just wondering if there was any of some of the questions that you've heard. Did you have anything to add to that, or the information?
Well, no,
Okay.
like I know, like, for instance, I can just tell you what I know, like, but it's like secondhand stuff. I know that the bridge that's by Atlantic Host has a huge sign in front of it. It's not called the RH Fernet Bridge. It's called the Atlantic Host Bridge with a sign like that. Sorry, but there are other RH Fernet ones there too. So I think people that put forward, and I don't know, like, for sure, I think people put forward money, but I think they take some of their money and put it towards, bring it back to the ATV trails. I think that started a long time ago. But like I said, I have no idea. And it's up to you guys if you don't want to agree with it. I think they're going to do what they want to do anyway with it, but it's like, you know, you're going to be, all I know is that you will be recognized. The village will be recognized for their contributions for sure on the big sign. It's the other one, like most of those signs that are on the bridges don't last anyway, they get knocked off. But anyway, it's up to you guys.
All right. Well, let's if council is ready to move on to this motion.
Can I just make one last statement, if I may, Your Worship?
Well, I'll
Can I get a
give you
chance
the
to talk?
Yeah,
Yeah.
go ahead. I'll let Councilor Carrier and then Councilor Burke and then Councilor Carmichael.
So I just want to make sure that I'm understanding this correctly, because I was not on the previous council when, I think it was 2 councils before, but anywho, is this not a project that is by the ATV club and they contacted the Village of Baldoon and asked for a donation and asked for help with it? So would we not be a contributor to the project, much in the same way that RH Fernet and all of the others are? So, and then my next question is, I'm assuming we don't have a list of all of the contributors to the project, that the ATV club would have that list because it is their project. Would that be correct?
Yeah.
Okay, so what I'm not understanding is, why are they coming to us for this decision? If it's their project, why don't they have control over them deciding what to name the bridge or where to put the signage?
Do you want me to answer that? Like, I can answer it bluntly for you. It's the ATV club runs it. You guys gave them money. There was no contract that was signed that said, when we build this bridge, we're going to name it the Village of Baldoon Bridge. They just, out of, politeness, they said, listen, this is what we're going to do. Hope you're okay with it. That's where this whole thing started. The province of New Brunswick has provided them with all kinds of funding as well. They're not asking to have that named the province of New Brunswick Bridge. They're going to be right up there as platinum sponsors, because I forget what level it is, because I wasn't involved in the contract, but that's what's gonna be. It's gonna be platinum sponsors. This is how much, and it says how much you gave, and that's gonna be identified on that big sign. And I invite all of you to take a walk down from Atlantic Coast down to that bridge right there and see the sign that's there, and you can tell the difference. And Ron, I don't know if you have or not, but it's certainly much more visible than the little one that you hardly see when you're going across the bridge. And to be honest with you, it doesn't bother me what you do. It's just they're doing that out of, politeness to say, listen, God, I know you guys helped us out. I want to let you know that this is what we're doing.
Right.
And, and if you're
So-
really that much offended by it, then maybe they'll change. If the vote goes through here, I'll be the first one to contact Mr. Willett tomorrow and say, no, council was not in favor of that happening. I can do that too. It's not, I called him the last time, so it's not a big deal. He wasn't offended by it or anything. So you just let me know what you want me to do.
So my thought is then that if it's their project, they're in charge of who their sponsors are and what they do as a form of advertising and everything else. They have contacted us and said that they would like to allow RH Frenette to do that because they are in need of that extra money, and the 30,000 would help them. So
You hit it right on the head, Councilor Carrier.
So why would we not allow them to do that? It's their project. That's my take.
Okay, Councilor, Deputy Mayor Burke, and then we'll move on to the vote.
Okay, my question has nothing to do with naming the bridge RH Frenette. Nothing to do with that whatsoever. Can any councillor or our clerk treasurer or our CAO tell me what this bridge costs? What does it cost? Because I don't know.
Why would we need to know? It's not our project.
Well, are you telling me that you're willing to give unlimited funds to this project? Unlimited funds?
I didn't give them any funds.
Yes, you did. The council has a budget in there for this project.
That budget was created by previous council. So that's what I just said. So the ATV club came to the Village of Baldoon and asked for funding. The Village of Baldoon agreed to it, and they committed to giving X amount of dollars. So the rest of the project is theirs. It's their project.
How much is that? How much is that?
I don't know. How much is it?
Me neither.
Okay, but if we've already committed to it.
Okay,
I
Council.
can give you a guess of what it is. I know it was like.
Well, you know what? Even better than that.
We'll get figured out, but I'm not one that's going to go in and like we provided funding based on what they gave you as an amount that it was going to cost. They have provided that it's costing more because of COVID, whatever. It costs more, so they're getting $30,000 more, which is going to help offset their cost for it. The amount that you guys gave, and I was the previous council, gave to them from the village was based on the amount that it was then. That right now they're short on stuff because of labor, because of whatever. But that's, I'm not about to go in and ask them, okay, yeah, I'm sure I can ask.
Price increase.
For sure. But I'm not going to dig into their finances. I think they're a pretty good company, but if that's what you want me to do, I'll ask them that too.
Okay, then why did you do that, Sale Ferguson?
I
And
will.
we'll move on with the vote and get that information to council as quickly as you can. How about that?
So do we have to read it over again?
No, we've already read it. I don't believe so. Clerk Treasurer Cormier doing. We've already read it and seconded.
If council is all clear on what the motion is.
Okay. And I would say as pertaining to this, because there are quite a few questions, if whatever questions council members would have, directing the CEO Ferguson and CEO Ferguson, I would ask you to sort of jump on those as quickly as you can.
I'll send them right to Mr. Willett tomorrow. I did the last time and he got back to me with a response and
Okay.
actually, I think he gave me the price of what it was, where they were at, like 380,000 or something like that. And
Okay.
Yeah,
So we have
I'll find whatever information he wants to give me, I'll ask for it. I'll ask for it and whatever he wants to give me.
And whatever council feels like they need to know, get those questions to CAO Ferguson. Okay, we'll get them, get that information as quickly as possible.
So
So we
this
have a
motion, this motion is just, for clarification, is just to approve the $30,000 donation from RH Frenette, and we will name the bridge after RH Frenette.
Yes.
Has nothing to do with anything else.
CAO Ferguson, it's under your name. Is that how you see it?
Yeah, well, all I did was receive, I'm gonna simplify this for you. I received a request, just a statement actually from Mr. Willett and the ATV Club or whatever, saying, listen, wanted to let you know that we're getting $30,000 more because there's extra costs involved with regards to this bridge. And the $30,000 will go to help build the bridge. You then asked me to go back to him and ask to make sure that it was going to the bridge, which I did. He then wrote me a letter, email, and saying, yes, I can guarantee you it is. Now, if you want me to get a financial statement from him that shows that the $30,000 went, I can do that too. I'll ask for that. But that's simply what it was. Out of respect for the village, he said, listen, this is $30,000 that we can get extra, whatever. And any contractor that provides stuff, whether it's Bradley Jenks or it's whatever, they do those things for them. I'm not in the business of doing that. That's up to them. I don't do that. I know that the village of Beldoon will be a platinum sponsor on that sign, and it's going to be a big one. That's all I know. But I will answer. You send me emails, and I will talk to Jacques tomorrow, and he will be very forthcoming with whatever information that you require, I'm sure. So send me any email that you want with questions about that stuff, and I'll ask him, and he'll tell me what he can, I'm sure.
Okay. So on that, we have a mover and a seconder for motion 21-28. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I'm not opposed to that.
All those opposed say nay.
Nay.
We have 4-1, Councillor Robinson opposes the motion. Motion passed. CAO Ferguson, your next one, please.
Yes, with regards to the asset management, I brought forward something on the our last meeting with regards to the asset management program and phase 2 of that program. We already had phase 1. So as my email stated, I have gone out to other companies, 2 more, and I'm actually going to go to another one tomorrow, a person that contacted me. What I did find out, which I did not know, and I just found this out today, otherwise I would have told you. Roy's Consultants actually in October of 2020 sent Mr. Lee a proposal to do phase 2, which would meet the guidelines set for what we would be required to do to make sure we had our updates going with regards to receiving funding. I have that. I contacted Roy's today and I said, well, since you've already done it, it will be one of the ones that I give. And Councillor Robinson was very correct when in my mind, that it's a lot of money or whatever, and it's like 160 whatever what that company had put forward. Anderson, RB Anderson. What I have from Roy's right now is probably half that. What I need to do, because I just got this today, is just to see with what they're planning on doing with that, and I will be sending that to you tomorrow as well. If it meets the guidelines that were required. I talked to Mr. Frenette from Roy's today, and not that I'm picking Roy's, because it's going to go out there and I'll bring all the ones back to you. I reached out to Engo, and there's another one too, I forget their name right now, who I will bring, or your new CAO will bring to you, to make sure that what it is. But the most important part of it right away is that in the first steps of what it is that they do the work that will to initiate with FCM to get the funds, which basically, if you went with the one that's not, that we had looked at before from RBA, with the one that I looked at today or whatever, it would cover quite a bit of the cost of it. So, and I want to thank Councillor Robinson for that, because it is a lot of money. And so I need to find out if that's exactly what's required. The company that I spoke to today, and I'm not picking them or whatever, like they've done 13 and are phase 1. And now we're working on Petit Rocher and some other ones in the peninsula for phase 2. Not saying they're any good, but they are doing that. But I need to find out exactly if what they have put in their proposal to Mr. Lee is acceptable for us, if it's what we need. We looked at, myself and staff looked at the proposal brought forward from RV Anderson. It is very, very detailed. A lot of work that would be required by a much bigger staff. Some of these companies, including the one that I looked at today, are more accustomed to dealing with smaller communities like ours, knowing our limited resources, our limited workforce, staff. So I'm looking at that, and that's what I'm putting forward to the other companies, saying, listen, you know, we're a small community. We're trying to not spend as much money as we can here to get the most we can from the government. But the bottom line is this has to be, you know, it has to get done, you know, sooner than later. But like I said, there's still only 3 or 4 around here that have their phase 2 finished, so we're not that far behind. But so that's my goal within the next week, between now and next Wednesday, is to have those for you, so that you can take a look at them, and then your new CAO can present those at the next council. But it certainly was an eye opener today. I didn't even know that we had that. So, because I just called Roy saying, listen, you guys do that. You know, anyway, he said, I already sent one to the village. So that's where we stand with that. And really, besides that, like any of the technical stuff, like Mr. Novak said, we're not experts. You know, like, and I'm not an expert in that. I'm not an expert in getting funding. I'm not an expert. You got to get people to do those things for you. So that's what I'm trying to do, to get those with the right guidance or whatever, to go out and get the proper things, like I'm doing also for the room that's going to get renovated. So that's where I stand with that. I wanted to give you an update with regards to the asset management program and where we stand right now. It's big for, like, I know the one that we have that I looked at from Royce today does not include water, which I think is a big issue for the village, water sustainability within the next 10 years. So those are some of the things that we have to include in that. That's why I think it might cost more on that one that we looked at today. So basically that's where I stand. It's, you know, with regards to that, I don't know a whole lot about it. I'm just trying to get it done, you know, so that we can move on and possibly get funding that's provided.
Okay, thank you. Let's open it up for discussion. Any council members wish to contribute? Councilor Carmichael.
Yeah, I just have a question. We did phase 1. We can use phase 1 as it is, and it wouldn't cost us any extra money if we get a different company.
No,
We can't do.
they can do phase, you can get whoever to do phase 2.
So phase 1
What
is
my
done,
thought
so-
was at the beginning, sorry, Councilor Carmichael, what my thought was that this was the company, RVA, that did it before. So I figured they knew what was going on with regards to the stuff, could read all those binders or whatever, and make more out of it. But no, you don't have to. You can go out and that information is, the information that we got from them is our information. We paid for it.
Yeah.
So that information can be provided to whatever firm that we hire next. So
to do phase 2.
yes, and phase 2 has to get done. There's no question. That I know, that I checked into, but I don't know what the
Now,
time frame
my
is on it.
concern is that we were paying twice. We were paying for phase 1 again because we weren't getting the same company to do phase 2, but that's not.
No,
Okay,
no,
perfect. Thank you. That's
not in my estimation, not what I.
clear as mud.
Any other council members?
I just wanted to ask the deadline. What is the date? There is
The
a
date
deadline
is-
for this.
Well, I know that there's a deadline of, I think the original deadline is the end of 2023 to have
Okay.
all this completed. So it doesn't mean you're not going to get any funding before that. And everybody's behind anyway, like that, when I talked to Roy's today, and Francis knows I'm going to other people too, so it's not like, he just said, no, we just started working on Petit Rochers, within the last 3 months. So it's like,
Okay.
we're not behind anybody else, as long as we get started soon, or you guys get started, I think, and set a timeline where each of the different phases can be completed. My mind, I think it's by the end of 23, but I did call, I mentioned that, trying to find that information from the people in Ottawa and Fredericton.
Okay. Any other council members?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. When you're looking at proposals, are they all bidding on the exact same thing? Because like you just said, Roy's wasn't including water and wastewater, so that's 40,000 on RV
Yeah.
Anderson's. So are we making sure that everybody is bidding on the exact same thing, right? So if somebody's not saying, I'll do this and this, but not this, this and this, or
Yeah,
you know
well-
what I mean? Like it's the extras that kill you, right?
Yeah, exactly, Cynthia. The issue that we need to look at, or I need to look at right now, is what are the exact requirements? If you take a look at RVAs and City Clerk told me again today, they're so specific. They're talking about different grades on the roads, and this is going to be like, a lot of that stuff is not required.
Mhm.
So what I need to find out exactly what is required, I believe what, but I don't know for sure, but I believe what Roy's was saying, like they're doing what needs to be done to make sure that you get your funding, and they're the ones that are going to apply for it, but I don't know the bare minimums, and that's what I got to find out.
So would it make more sense then to get those specs together, find out
Yeah.
exactly what we need, and
That's why I
then
said,
ask
yep.
for proposals? Okay, so
Yep.
you're not getting prices before we
No,
know.
and I
We're
contacted,
putting together a package to send out for quotes.
yeah, I contacted Mr. Mason today from RVA, and I told him that, I'm just doing some research on this now, and I think there's some things that we may not need in a small community that you're providing. So I need to find out exactly what the specs are for us, and then those would go out to each of those people. This is what we're looking for.
Okay, just want to make sure we're comparing.
Yeah,
apples to
no, and I
apples,
understand you. We wanna-
Everybody's bidding on the same thing, right?
Yep, exactly.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So when I go to like.
Anyone else? Anyone else?
I'm good.
Deputy Mayor Burke, did you have something? Or
Good.
Councilor Guillermo, did you have something?
No, I'm good, thanks.
Okay. So that wraps that up, CAO Ferguson,
Yep.
Clerk Treasurer Cormier.
Okay, I'll do the financial reports. For the general operating fund from January 1st to the 31st, 2022, bank balance carried forward from December 2021 was $291,878.92. We had deposits of $1,747.50, direct payments of $1,380, Province of New Brunswick direct deposits of $367,167, Province of New Brunswick direct payment, the RDC grant for Restigo Street, $159,698, HST rebate, $5,853.93, Arena cash deposits of $1,487, and interest revenue of $286.78, for total deposits of $537,620.21. We had checks that were issued from January 1st to the 31st of $547,466.36. Account payable direct payments of $3,968.49. Direct payment service New Brunswick, $10. Direct payment work health and safety, $1,538.76. Bank charges of $73.19. And MasterCard payments of $446.32. We had checks that were outstanding December 31st of $79,864.51. Checks outstanding January 31st, 2022 of $201,547.42, leaving a current account balance at January 31st of $397,678.92. We had a capital reserve account balance of $2,658,268.45. The capital operating reserve of $201,428.24, and gas tax fund balance of $631,145.04. The current account payable, the list for the year 2021 was $76,398.31, and for January 2022, $2,411.60. The current accounts receivable as of the end of January was $6,431.50. We had due from the general utility operating fund for administrative services, $6,000. Due to the general utility operating fund, HST, $6,162.23. And due to the general capital reserve, $385,000. For the utility operating fund, January 1st to the 31st, 2022, bank balance carried from December 2021, $18,142.76. Deposits of $1,750, direct payments of $1,875, interest of $11.67, for total deposits of $3,636.67. The checks issued from January were $427.18, and e-transfer payments was $3,718.33. Checks outstanding at the end of December, $369.45, and checks outstanding at the end of January, $427.18, for account balance at the end of January of $17,691.65. The capital reserve account balance was $54,287.66. The operating reserve account balance was $6,928.41, and the trust account balance was $28,688.87. We had no outstanding accounts payable. On the accounts receivable, on the residential side for the year 2020, we still had a $150 outstanding, 2021, $750, and 2021 industrial, $6,290.66. As of January 31st, the residential was $1,875, and the industrial was $3,926.57. The due from the general operating fund, the HST rebate, $6,162.23. We had due to the utility capital reserve, $23,000, and due to the general operating fund for administrative services, $6,000.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion then, 21-29 to accept as presented the accounts payable be paid. Can we get a mover for that particular motion, please?
I move that the financial report be accepted as presented and the accounts payable be paid.
Can I get a seconder?
I'll second it.
On the question? All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion approved. Okay, so move down to bylaws and policies. First one is the bylaw number 1702, 2022 concerning the amendment of zoning provisions of the rural plan of Beldoon. Full reading. So this is that the bylaw number 1702, 2022 concerning the amendment of the zoning provisions of the rural plan of Beldoon, the entirety of which has been read, be adopted. So we have a couple of documents that are given there. So just, are we okay with just going through? It sounds like, and Clerk Treasurer Cormier, are we okay with just going through with this motion, or do we need to read it afterward or through? What's the guidance on this one?
It needs to be read in its entirety. And then, like I said, the motion can either be made prior to the reading. Whoever
Yeah.
reads it can read it and then
Yeah,
second.
let's do it. Let's do it that way. So let's have a mover and a seconder, and I'll allow the mover to read full reading. So if you're a mover, you're gonna take on the full reading. Get a mover?
Okay. M 2022-2-22-30, that the bylaw number 1702 2022 concerning the amendment of the zoning provision of the rural plan of Beldoon, the entirety, whatever, which has been read, be adopted.
Okay, we'll get a seconder and then we'll have Counselor Carmichael read. Can we get a seconder?
Second it.
Seconded by Counselor Carrier. Okay, Counselor Carmichael.
Okay. Bylaw number 17-02-2022, a bylaw to amend the rural plan of the Village of Beldoon, being bylaw 1701, 2008. Under the authority vested in the Community Planning Act, the Municipal Council of Beldoon duly convenes, enacts as follows. Section 1, Section 67 of Part C of the Rural Plan is amended by repealing subsection and substituting the following. For the purpose of the bylaw, the area is divided into zone and delineated on the plan attached as Schedule A, entitled Village of Beldoon zoning map, and dated April 2008, and subsequently amended by the map included in Schedule A-1. The Schedule A and its amendment is the zoning map designated for the rural plan of the Village of Beldoon. Section 2, the parcel land which has been shadowed on map 17-02-2022 attached hereto as Schedule A-1 is zone residential type 2, brackets R-2, with terms and condition. Section 3, in addition of the use normally permitted in the residential type 2-R2 zone, it is also permitted to use or occupy one recreational vehicle on parcel bearing PID 502-27966, located on Culligan Road and highlighted on map 17-02-2022, attached here to the Schedule A-1. This use must respect the terms and condition of the agreement joint hereto and Schedule B adopted under the provision of Section 59 of Community Planning Act. Section 4. This bylaw is enacted by compliance by the Community Planning Act.
Okay.
So I have to read Schedule B? Okay, Schedule B.
Yep.
Agreement in compliance with the provision of Section 59 of the Community of Planning Act. The agreement made this 22nd day of February 2022 between Ronald and Elizabeth Legacy, living at 13,498 Country Road 2 in the village of Colborne, province of Ontario, hereafter refers to as owner and on the first part and Beldoon of a municipality in compliance with the laws and statutes of the province of New Brunswick, hereafter refers to the municipality on the second part. Whereas municipality has received requests from the owner and the agent to modify the zoning of the portion of property bearing PID 502-27966. Whereas the main purpose of the rezoning is to allow the use of the property for recreational vehicle and the accessories buildings. Whereas the compliance of the provision of Section 59 in brackets 2 of the Community Planning Act, this agreement will not take place until a certified copy of the bylaw and a certified copy of the agreement have been filed together in the registry office. Moved by Counselor, I think it was myself, and seconded by Counselor Carrier, that the following terms and conditions constitute the agreement between the parties and compliances with the provincial provision of Section 59 of the Community Planning Act. 1, only one recreational vehicle is allowed at all times. 2, the lot must be serviced by a well and a non-site septic system. 3, one accessory building of the maximum of 45 square meters in floor area is allowed. 4, the location of the recreational vehicle and accessory building shall respect setback requires by zone R-2. 5, Whereas the owner and or the agent fails to meet the terms or conditions set in this bylaw and or the rural plan of the village of Beldoon, the municipalities may cancel the rezoning in writing pursuant to provision contained in the Community Planning Act. The above mentioned terms and condition are binding upon the parties, their heirs and assigns. The parties here to acknowledge having read this document and affix their signature thereto.
Okay, thank you. Motion is on the table. To the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion passed. Okay. Let's get myself be with you in a second. Okay, so the next one then is the bylaw 1702 22. Okay, so we went through that one. We went through, did I just go through 31? Did we just pass 31?
We're at 31.
It was number 30.
Okay, so
Number-
we're at 31 now?
Yes,
Okay, so the motion 2202 22-31 that the bylaw number 1702 2022 concerning the amendment of the zoning provisions of the rural plan of Beldoon, the title of which has been read, be adopted at a third reading. Can we get a mover for that?
I moved amendment to the zoning provision of the rural plan for the property bearing PID 500-86677 located at 26 Quinn Road, terms and conditions.
Okay, can we get a seconder? We don't have a seconder?
I'll second.
Okay. So the amendment to the zoning provisions, the rural plan for the property, the PID numbers there located at 26 Quinn Road, terms and conditions. All right. On the
Mr. Mayor,
question.
they didn't
Yeah.
vote on that number 31.
Okay,
They didn't do the vote.
right. Okay, sorry. So let's do a vote on that before we move on to 8.3, correct? So we have a mover and a seconder. All those in favor say aye.
I
All those opposed say nay. Okay, so that motion also passes. Now we move to 8.3. The amendment to the zoning provisions of the rural plan for the property bearing PID number 500-86677 located at 26 Quinn Road, terms and conditions. So this motion is 2202 22-32. That the following resolution be approved. And the resolution in compliance with the provisions of section 59 of the Community Planning Act. Well, in fact, you know what? I'll leave that to the mover to read. So can we get a mover for that particular motion?
I move whereas the municipality has received a request from owner and his agent to modify the zoning of portion of the property bearing PID 500-86677. Whereas the main purpose of the rezoning is allowed multiple uses on the subject property. Whereas the compliance with the provision of section 59(2) of the Community Planning Act, this resolution will not take place until the certified copy of the bylaw and certified copy of the resolution have been filed together at the registry office. That the following terms and conditions constitute the resolution of compliances with the provision of section 59 of the Community Planning Act. 1, on the subject of property, it is permitted to have more than one main use of described in an Article 72.1 on the rural plan. 2, all use occurring to the subject property shall respect condition of the mixed type 1 bracket MX-1 zone. In addition to the use listed in the mixed type 1 brackets MX-1 zone is permitted to have art studio, gallery, show space, retail space, workshop, garage. Where the owner and or the agent fail to meet the terms and conditions set to this bylaw and or in rural plan of the village of Beldoon, the municipality may cancel this rezoning in writing pursuant to the provision contained in the Community Planning Act.
Okay. Do we have a seconder?
I second it.
Seconded by Councillor Robinson. On the question?
Is this for the spot zoning? Is that this one what's for the spot zoning?
Your worship, can I speak to this one?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, basically, we had a request by the Mr. Surratt with regards to his property and the things that he would like to have. He put that directly towards council. So within this, we worked with rural, the planning. Everything that Mr. Surratt, I believe, requested is carried over in this. But I know there was an issue about with the animals, the chickens and the numbers and things. That's all covered under, I think it was actually one of the councilors, maybe, I forget. But that's already covered under a mixed zone. So the animals that he has and the chickens that ever he wants, that's all covered there. Really, the only thing that's not there is the bed and breakfast. There's an issue, I think, with that. I believe that Councilor Robinson may be able to help me with that, or Councilor. I think their plans have changed with that, that they're planning on building some cottages there.
Yeah, that's right.
And at which time they would probably have to go through getting a building permit or whatever for those things. But this covers, I believe, everything that's in there. I did call and spoke with the planning committee with Benjamin, Mr. Cochia, and he said everything is there that was being requested under what he had, and it's gone to council, and that's why this is here. So if there are any other questions on that, I've been through this a number of times. I really couldn't answer any more questions. I called them today, and I even called them at 6:30 tonight and said, listen, is this covering what Mr. Surratt is asking for with regards to that? He said, yes. He said, basically, most of it's covered anyway, but he said, if you want to do this and cover yourselves, and that's fine. I don't think that there's an issue with any of it, but like with regards to questions about that, I don't have them. I did invite them to come to this meeting to help with that. They both had other commitments. Certainly, Mr. Cochia will be at, I'll talk about that at our next one that we're going to talk about in a second. But this basically covers everything that was required. And I think it's good, and it's up to you guys. That's what I can say.
Okay. Any questions or suggestions or observations, council? No. Okay. Then that means that we get to the motion itself. The following resolution be approved. Okay, so M 2022-02 22-30 through the resolution in compliance with the provisions of section 59 of the Community Planning Act. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion approved. Takes us down to the amendment to the zoning provisions of the rural plan for the property hearing PID 500-500-86677 located at 26 Quinn Road, public hearing, consideration of objections. So I assume this is putting together a date for this. Is that what this is, Clerk Treasurer?
No, the ad went out some weeks ago. It was just the ad. It didn't have any bylaw attached to it.
Okay.
And there was nothing came back.
Okay. So we can move on to 8.5 then, which is a bylaw number 1703, 2022 concerning the amendment to the zoning provisions of the rural plan for Beldoon, PID 500866677, located at 26 Quinn Road. First and second readings by title. Motion is M 2022-0222-33. We get a mover?
I move that the bylaw number 17-03-2022 concerning the amendment of the zoning provision of the rural plan of Beldoon, the title of which only has been read, be adopted at first reading.
Okay, can I get a seconder
I'll second it.
on the question? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, we move on to,
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, the bylaw
Yeah.
have read by title.
okay, does that need, do we need to do that before 34, Clerk Treasurer Cormier?
You have to do it both times. You
Both
have to do
times,
it the
okay.
first motion and the second motion.
Okay, so I wasn't sure. I thought maybe the second motion would cover that. So back to you, Councillor Carmichael. You get another full one to read,
Okay, and
Just by title.
just by
Just-
title.
bylaw number 17-03-2022, a bylaw to amend the rural plan for the village of Beldoon, being bylaw 1701-2008. Anything else?
No, that's good, but we'll redo the vote. So for -33, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, we can move on to 34. This one will also need to be read. Do we have a mover?
I move that the bylaw number 17-03-2022 concerning the amendment of zoning provision of the rural plan of Beldoon, the title of which only has been read, be adopted a second reading.
Do we have a seconder before we read it?
I'll
I'll
second it.
second it.
Okay, Councillor Carrier. Go ahead, Councillor Carmichael.
Okay, bylaw number 17-03-2022, a bylaw to amend the rural plan of the village of Beldoon, being bylaw 1701-2008. Under the authority vested in by the Community Planning Act, the Municipal Council of Beldoon duly convened in act as follows. Section 1, Part A of the rural plan is amended by repealing Section 3 and substituting the following. 3, Schedule of Entitlement Village of Beldoon zoning map, and subsequently amended and integrate part of the rural plan as described on Section 2 as of the bylaw. Section 2, Section 1 of Part C of rural plan is amended by repealing title of subsection and substitution of the following. Section 1, Interpretation. Section 3, Section 67 of Part C of the rural plan is amended by repealing a subsection N1, substituting the following. 1, bracket 1, for the purpose of the bylaw, the area of the divided into zones and delineated on the plan attached Section A entitled Village of Beldoon zoning map and dated April 2008, and subsequently amended by map included of Section 1-1. The Schedule A and all its amendments is a zoning map designated to the rural plan of the Village of Beldoon. Section 4, the parcel of the land which has been shadowed on map 17-03-2022 attached hereto as Schedule A-1 is zoned mixed type 1, bracket MX-1, with terms and conditions. Section 5, in addition of the use normally permitted is mixed type 1, brackets MX-1 zone. It is also permitted the use listed in Schedule B on parcel bearing PID 500866677 located at 26 Quinn Road and highlighted on map 17-03-2022 attached hereto as Schedule A-1. The listed use must respect the terms and condition of the resolution jointed hereto as Schedule B, adopted under the provision of Section 59 of Community Planning Act. Excuse me. Section 6. This bylaw is enacted in compliance by the Community Planning Act. First reading, February 22nd, 2022. Second reading, February 22nd, 2022. Third reading. Is that today, February 22nd, 2022? Signed by Mayor and Clerk and Municipal. Schedule B, resolution of compliance with the provision of Section 59 of the Community Planning Act. Whereas the municipality has received and requests from the owner of the agent to modify the zoning of the portion of the property bearing PID 500-86677. Whereas the main purpose of the rezoning is to allow the multiple use on the subject property. Whereas in compliance with the provision of Section 59, bracket 2 of the Community Planning Act, this resolution will not take place until the certified copy of the bylaw and the certified copy of the resolution have been filed together at the registry office. That the following terms and conditions constitute the resolution of the compliance with the provision of Section 59 of the Community Planning Act. 1. On the subject property, it is permitted to have more than one main use of described in Article 72-1 of the Rural Plan. 2. All use occurring to the subject property shall respect the condition of the mixed type 1, bracket MX-1 zone. 3. In addition to the use of the listed mixed type 1, bracket MX-1 zone, is permitted to have art studio, gallery, show space, retail space, workshop, garage, whereas the owner and or agent fails to meet the terms and conditions set by the bylaw and or the rural plan of the village of Beldoon, the municipality may cancel this rezoning and writing pursuant of the province contained in the Community Planning Act.
Okay, thank you. On the question. All those in favor say aye.
I,
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay. I'm just gonna get myself here. Okay. We are at 35.
Your worship,
Yes.
can I speak on that before we go and get some information? Just in my conversations with, in my conversations with Benjamin today, that I wanted him here for this one. It was impossible. I asked him last week. He said no. He said I might be able to get there, but anyway, he can't. And there are too many questions in my mind with regards to this one. So he said you should request somebody that one of the counselors to table it for your next meeting where I can be there to answer the questions. But that's just his suggestion. If you want to go ahead with it, I won't have answers for you besides what's written on that.
Are you talking about 35, CO Ferguson?
Yep. That's the inspection revealed the development that was undertaken without issuance of a building permit. That's the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
Okay, so
I would
authorization.
appreciate if that was tabled, but I can just tell you right now, if there are questions on it, that you know as much as I do.
All right, so I just want to make sure I'm on the right. I believe that's -35, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so CEO Ferguson is asking that motion 2022-02-22-35 be tabled. A council member would have to table a motion.
I'd like to table it
if the
so
council-
we can make sure that we have the right information before we go further with it. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say all that.
All right. Do we have a seconder on that?
I'll second it.
Councillor Carrier seconds the motion to table.
Yeah,
On
your
the
worship, sorry, I'm gonna interrupt again, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
I don't, there's just some issues at the end of it here with regards to if it's not, you vote yes or you don't, you vote no or whatever, and then if you wait 3 weeks or whatever, that stuff I need to get cleared up and what it would mean to Mr. Surratt before we go ahead with it. That's the reason why I needed Benjamin here for that, to answer that, and I don't, and he's not here, so that's my reason.
Okay. On the question. All those in favor of tabling the motion, say aye.
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 I'll table it.
All those opposed, say nay.
Nay.
Motion passed to table.
Could I have the nay vote, please?
It's,
Yes.
I am. I was the nay vote.
Well, did we? Oh, okay. Councillor Robinson's been able. Okay. All right. Do you have that for Treasurer Cormier? Do you have them? Okay. We move down to motions and resolutions. I believe we're at -36. So we're at the fire rescue unit tender, Village of Beldoon Fire Department 01 award. This is in conjunction with Mr. Kingston's work in terms of the tender you see in front of you. Can I get a mover for this particular motion before we discuss?
I move M 2022-02-22-36 that, as recommended by Chris Kingston, procurement consultant, the tender for the fire rescue unit tender Village of Beldoon FD -01 be awarded to the sole bidder, Metal Fab Limited, for the amount of $293,968.75, HST included.
Can I get a seconder?
I'll second it.
Seconded by Councillor Guitar McDonnell. On the question?
That is for a fire truck or just the rescue truck? Which one is that one now? I know we needed fire trucks replaced.
C.L. Ferguson.
Thank you. That's for the rescue truck. The committee was Chief Legacy, Deputy Chief Furlot, and firefighter Stevenson, I believe. I'm not sure if he's deputy or not, but and Chris and representatives who were invited from different manufacturing firms. The only one that really showed up was Metal Fab. So the entire process was when they went through with the fire department to get exactly what they wanted. They put together the specs for it. They then came up to Bathurst and went over with the fire department and myself. And they made a few changes, brought it back, and then they were the only bidder that there was on the this machinery. The fire truck itself, I believe, is already getting made. So about 6 months behind
Okay.
right now.
Council members, any comments or anything you want to add?
I'm just wondering where it fell in regards to what had been budgeted for. Did it fall within the budget of what they had expected?
It's below budget.
It's below.
It's in the memo in our package. It says, as you're aware, the tenders for the fire rescue truck were opened publicly on February 5th. There were no bidder representatives at the opening. We received one bid from Metal Fab in the amount of $293,968.75. It should be noted that this amount is slightly less than the estimate.
But it doesn't give the amount of slightly less.
Well, if the estimate, it doesn't say what the estimate was, but the 293,000 is less than what they had budgeted.
I don't know, the treasurer could tell you that, I'm sure.
No, I really don't have the information. I know it like There's never any discussion regarding budget amount or anything like that. It was more what was estimated. I know the big discrepancy from the last CAO presentation on what the asset was going to cost. It was quite a bit of difference from what was presented for that asset back then. But it hasn't really been a budget figure that council already spoke about. It was the Mr. Ferguson and those people that come up with an estimate. Mr. Kingston,
Okay.
not Mr. Ferguson.
I was gonna say, I don't remember that.
Right. Okay, All right.
If you may, your worship, just to comment on that.
sure. Yeah,
I don't believe it's in the budget. I don't think it's that funding is even in the budget. We did go over the budget, but any of our capital expenditures, I don't believe that $293,000 is even in the budget.
It's definitely not something that was budgeted in your operating budget.
That's right. So
right.
we haven't had our meeting yet on our capital expenditures or projects that we're going to do. And we, you know, at the end of the day, this would be part of that conversation to pay for that and place it in our budget or take it from our capital fund. But we haven't had that meeting yet. And I don't believe that $293,000 is accounted for.
Right. No, I think we had talked early on about wanting to have that meeting in January or February, and then I think the train of thought was that we'd probably wait for the new CAO to have it, but Deputy Mayor Burke is correct, I believe, on that. So I guess there's only one or two ways that we can go about this. Maybe Clerk Treasurer Cormier, CAO Ferguson, you can guide us on this, but either we don't have the money preferably to do it, so the motion can't be had because the money's not there to give, or we haven't budgeted for it, or we, go forward with the motion and then find the money when we have those meetings. I guess either one of those would work, would it not? Wouldn't it have to be either one of those?
I could speak to it if you wish. You do have money in capital reserve. This is a capital purchase. So if council deems to use that money out of capital reserve, that's something they can do. A lot of times when these projects come up like this, council kind of waits till about year end to see where they're sitting with their general operating fund. If they have a surplus, then they use some of that surplus out of the operating budget to pay towards the capital expenditure, and then just have to transfer the balance, say, or maybe there'll be no balance. Like if you took, for instance, this year we had 300 and some thousand that went in reserve. Well, right there now, I would have paid for the whole truck, and it would have became a capital expenditure out of your general operating fund. So usually by year end is where you determine where the exact money is going to come from, either some from general operating, some from capital reserve, or all from capital reserve, or all from capital, your general operating. So either way, you got the money somewhere to buy it.
Right. Okay. So if we have the money somewhere to buy it, then I guess we're covered to go ahead and go through with the motion and acquire the vehicle. Anyone want to say that I'm incorrect in saying that? CAO Ferguson, is that the correct train of thought? If it's there, it's there. So
This was started before me, but I knew there was, like, I knew that we didn't discuss it at budget, but there's certainly money in your capital reserve, as Deputy Mayor pointed out numerous times before Christmas with regards to stuff. This was something that the previous council started.
Yeah.
So it's the whole process has gone through. It's something that's needed, and you have the money to do it. So in my mind, my position would be go ahead, go through, and then figure out where you're going to get the money after. Because you have the money to cover it. So
right, and I just want council to feel secure that the motion that they make is not going to come back later with, the motion is cannot go through because the funds weren't there. So if we're stating that they're there, then council can feel comfortable that they can go through with this if they choose to, and the acquisition can be made.
Just a quick question, if this is something that was started by previous council, is it something that they budgeted for, and then because it was not purchased at that time, that those funds would have then been moved over to the capital reserve?
There might have
Councilor
been some
Carmen or
there may have been some discussions that was held by the previous council, but I don't think it actually hit the decision to go to tender except with this council. So it was never a budgeted item per se from either the
Right.
former council.
Okay.
that's how I see it too. That's how I remember it too.
We also discussed a fire truck that needs to be replaced and a garbage truck that needs to be purchased. I know that's also going to be coming up eventually.
Yeah.
Where the money's coming from, but
Well,
There's a garbage truck already coming, is there not, Council?
yes. I know there was a fire truck that needed to be replaced
But
and a
I'll
garbage
put
truck.
this through to Mrs. Cormier. Is there not already a garbage truck that's been ordered?
Yes, it should have been in by now, but it keeps getting delayed. And of course, everything is blamed on COVID, but retrofitting things. Yes, there's one due. It should be within the next month, we really hope. But what Councillor Carmichael is referring to is that now we got two really old trucks. And in order to have a spare, we may end up with issues down the road because there's been a lot of repairs put on both of them last year.
Right.
But they have to see what the lifespan would be on that split truck that we have. That's the newer one, and what kind of a lifespan that's going to have.
And we also have a 1/4 ton coming in.
yeah. Okay,
Lots of
If
trucks.
I may, your worship,
sure.
I believe this could maybe lead to some delays in say having the truck, this emergency truck ordered. As our clerk treasurer mentioned, we did put funding into our capital reserve in December. So I would like to suggest that we make a motion to approve the funding of the 293,000 and it be taking out of our capital reserve so that there's no delays with the truck because we have to have a motion of council to write the checks and so on and so on. Because I'm a firm believer that whether we look at it at this moment in time and take it out of our reserve or wait till year end and see how much money's left, to me, there's no difference in the accounting. So I would suggest we make a motion that the vehicle be paid for out of our capital reserve and move on.
Just to clarify for Deputy Mayor Burke, I didn't mean that we postponed the purchase till year end for the truck. It just means that the financials and how council have to make motions and what it would all work out at the end. So
Yes.
so the truck could be passed and bought now and the money would be paid. And if we had to take some out of reserve, council could make that motion at the year end with the exact amount they would transfer versus transferring the whole amount and then having to put some back in and some back out. It kind of simplifies it to know that you're paying the balance out of the operating by the end of the year, but the truck can be ordered now.
We can live with that.
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay, so that means we'll go with the motion as is.
that's right.
Okay, so we have a mover and a seconder, I believe, but I can't remember, it's a while ago, but I don't think we've had a vote on this yet, so we'll go with the vote now. If we haven't. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All those opposed, say nay. Okay. So we're moved on to general correspondence, clerk treasurer Cormier.
We have in the information in Restigos SPCA, the January 2022 report, the Atlantic Railway Track Inspection Report for January, the Beldoon Library Report for January, and the Shore Regional Service Commission Building Permit Report for January. We had a thank you from the Jagger River Health Center for the donation for Making Spirits Bright project. And we had magazines, Municipal World, Infrastructure, and Renew Canada.
Okay. With that, then we are ready to have a motion to adjourn. 22-37, can I get a mover for that particular motion?
I move that the meeting is adjourned at 9:10.
Can I get a seconder?
I'll second it.
Okay, second by Counselor Guitar McDonnell. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. Motion is passed. Meeting is ended. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.